Okay, good morning. So this is the first edition, episode, whatever, of Figs, Facelifts, and Consciousness, and I'll explain a whole lot more about that going forward. I am on my Peloton here, which I've had for almost a month, and I'm doing the Hawaii warm-up. So a piece for me right now, probably while I'm talking, is 2.2, which is, if you do the Peloton classes, they're like, okay, go down to a 3 or whatever. But anyway, forward. So I'm gonna start with, I'll talk a little bit about how I got to this project and what it is. But first, consciousness is the state of being awake and aware of one's surroundings, the awareness or perception of something by a person, the fact of awareness by the mind of itself and of the world. So lifetimes have been spent on all of the above. But first, this video and this channel and a little bit of what it's about. It's for the 50 and what I call the unseen. So if you're out there and you're over 50, anyone can watch it, but if you're over 50 and you're a woman, particularly if you were possibly an attractive woman, although I think all women are beautiful, and you start to feel or experience what they call being unseen, because our culture is so focused on being young and beautiful and what you're wearing, what your hair looks like. I'll go into more why I did not spend more time on what I look like. So one of the projects for this was losing 40 pounds. I probably, like many people, put on about 20 pounds with COVID. And then when I moved to this beautiful place that I live, and consider myself very blessed to live here, which is North Carolina, I put on another 20. So, as I said, I am in the 50 range, getting a little bit closer to 60, and maybe the unseen range. So I was thinking about getting a facelift and a neck lift. You know, if you take those pictures and you start to like play with the camera and figure all these ways out that you need to be doing things differently. And so I made a deal with my husband, got a Peloton, which I love. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that. And dropping 40 pounds. Not because he doesn't love me the way I am. So I'm going to talk a little bit about being respectful of each other, and when people say things, to understand how they're saying things and what they may or may not mean. But regardless, he is a wonderful man. I'm very lucky to have him. It's more about me wanting to drop the weight, making the deal with him, because facelifts are very expensive. So I'm like, I'm gonna drop 40, that'll put me in I'll be healthier, all that. So that's one of the goals that factors into this title. A little bit about my Peloton. I love it. I think it probably is the best treadmill out there. I'm doing the Hawaii run. It has what they call an immersion experience. It's very beautiful, but you can't really, you're really stuck and you're limited. You can't really use this screen, which is Android based, for anything else. Now you can, because I did some research, you can jailbreak it, which I was considering doing. But a couple of problems there. One, you'll lose the warranty, and two, you have to be a little bit of a techie. Now, techies are probably saying it's probably one of the simplest things you do. I don't agree. I was worried, so I'm gonna leave it, and I thought I'm gonna do this instead. What is this instead? Typically, this room that you see is my yoga meditation room, and hopefully, as I get better at this process, I'll talk a little bit about that later too, it'll look better. You'll have better backdrops, better lighting, and all that kind of stuff. But a little bit of history, how I create. Way more about me, way more about other people coming up in this journey. But I tend to, I'm very Frank Lloyd Wrightian, so if you don't know who he is, go learn. But he's a great architect. He has designed many, many beautiful residents and buildings, but he is a bit of a control freak, probably like me, and he designs everything furniture, lighting, stuff like that, so it takes a long time to get something done. And that does factor into this whole FIGS, facelifts, and consciousness. So, like I said, this is my meditation room, my yoga room, and I typically come up here and I meditate. So, trying to work Peloton and exercise into my day, like many people, can be challenging. You have to work everything into what you're doing. So typically now, I get up, get on my Peloton, and then I sit down on the other side of the room and do some meditation, but it's not the in-depth meditation, and way more on that to come to, that I think you need on a daily basis. But for now, this is my deal with myself and with the universe, that it's important that I get back into shape, I get my weight down, I feel good again, for myself, what I want to do, health, more on that later. But at the end of one of my meditations last week, was given, however, I'm feeling this really big pull to go to the Sea of Galilee. Now, I was probably raised less religious than some, more religious than others, but I know a little bit about the Sea of Galilee, but do not understand why I would want to go to the Sea of Galilee over getting a facelift, because I really want a facelift. I'm terrified to fly. I have traveled all over the United States. My family's traveled all over the world, but I'm really kind of a homebody, so way more on that to come, but that's part of this project as well. So I'm sitting down, I'm trying to figure all this out, tried to start some other stuff as well, and I just keep getting this bang, whatever you want to call it. Get going, start where you are, use what you have, do what you can. Arthur Ashe. So if y'all aren't familiar with him, look him up as well. And I am getting this pull to just stop trying to research everything to death and just do. It looks like what it looks like. It'll get better as I go along. So that's all part of this as well. What do the figs have to do with this? Way more to come on that. But let me tell you, if you've never had a fresh fig, plant a tree, go to a farmer's market, eat fresh figs. Way more to come on that. Media, how I'm doing this, why I'm doing this. This is the most accessible platform right now. Had a project going before, but I'll talk about that as we go on. I'm not on Facebook. I do come from a family that had a lot to do with computers, and before computers, hardware and software were really kind of a merging of the minds, but also grew up really worried about privacy, worried about how we treat each other, what Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram, whatever, kind of what all those things foster is a little bit difficult for me. So way more on that. So the fact that I'm doing this, shout out, because no one thing is all good or bad. It's really the people who use it, the people who create it, and YouTube, you have access to amazing resources. So here I am starting. So here we go. And I'm going to finish up this run. Well, not run, but fast walk today. I am going to be watching, over here, part 8, Egg of the Dragon, by Matteo De Stefano. If you guys don't know who he is, look him up. He has done a series on Gaia called The Journey of Remembering, and I am on part 8 of that. And I've got my water. I'm gonna take a drink of that. I've got my Hawaii run, and when I'm done with this, I'm gonna sit down and try to edit this, so maybe it doesn't look so horrible, but I hope I will include everything as I go along. That's part of what this is. It's a journey to consciousness. It's a journey of learning. It's a journey of sharing and supporting. So shout out to Gaia. If you don't know what Gaia is, or you've never watched any of their programming, if there was one channel that I could watch for the rest of my life, it would be Gaia. Think Media. They may not want this shout out, but there was the first video I watched on how to just do your initial video. A shout out to Maureen St. Germain, Beyond the Flower of Life. Check her out. Amazing. Colleen Miss, Anatomy of the Spirit. And she talks about what we as humans are afraid of. And we're not afraid of what we're capable of. We are afraid of what we're capable of. And that may sound contradictory. We're afraid of our power. We're afraid that middle-aged woman from North Carolina can actually make a difference in the world. But I think that we probably can. Also, Teresa Chung, Night Vision, which I have ordered and I'm getting ready to look at. All these wonderful women can be found on Gaia, as well as Mateus. So check them out. Thanks as always to angels, guides, ascended masters, and all who came before. And if you don't understand that you are standing on the shoulders of giants, you need to do your homework. So this is the first one. I'm going to finish this up 40 minutes and edit this, and I will see you guys next time.